this three-game series against Joe Girardi's New York Yankees. The Yankees won the opener. They were shut out yesterday. And let's take a look at the lineup for New York. Brett Gardner is the leadoff man. Derek Jeter and Jacoby Ellsbury. He dropped down into the third spot because he's had such a good series, 6 for 9. Plus, they want to separate the two lefties, Gardner and Ellsbury. And how about Yankees Solarte, the rookie, 4 for 8 in the series. They'll go up against young right-hander Drew Hutchison.
Hey, just 23 years old, and he was impressive out of the gate against Tampa Bay. Pitched into the 6th inning, 4 strikeouts. That was his first win since June the 1st of 2012. He looked very good down in Tampa.
First pitch is a fastball outside. Hutchison working with Eric Kratz behind the plate. Deanna Navarro was his catcher down in St. Petersburg. Gardner, 286 for the season, and there's another fastball away. Brett Gardner is a prototypical leadoff man. He's got to get on base, and then when he does, he can steal. He's got a stolen base in this series.
He'll see a lot of pitches. He'll work the count. He can run. Got a great eye.
Gardner didn't like that call. He felt like it was off the plate outside. Basically, it was in the same area, those first 2 pitches. Ron Copa's behind the plate today. Upstairs, it's a 3-1 count. Well, the Yankees are a little bit different this year in their lineup. Their profile more as a speed and base running team, at least early in the season. They've yet to hit a home run.
It's been a long time since you can say that through 5 games. And there's Brett Gardner right there. Sees just over 4 pitches per at bat last season. 4.2 pitches per plate appearance. That's why Joe Girardi has him in that leadoff spot. Work the count.
Takes the leadoff walk. He saw 6 pitches in the first at bat of the ball game. The Blue Jays on defense have been outstanding early on. They've committed 3 errors, but overall they have really played well in the field. Moises Sierra gets his first start of the season in left field. Cabrera and Bautista. Lorian Diaz on the left side. Isturiz and Encarnacion on the right side. And Eric Kratz making his first start behind the plate for the Blue Jays.
A couple of changes in the middle of the diamond. One of them, Melky Cabrera, will get his first start in center field this afternoon. Colby Rasmus with the day off with the left-hander on the mound.
Derek Jeter, there goes Gardner, not wasting any time. Kratz's throw is late into center field. Jonathan Diaz, the shortstop, backed it up, and the throw was on the first base side of the bag and short of the mark.
Great jump by Brett Gardner at first base. Gets his head down, so it's a straight steal. 20 stolen bases now, 4 straight seasons for Brett Gardner. He's 2 for 2 this year.
And Derek Jeter at the plate, he's always able to handle that bat, and you can look for him to hit the ball to the right side of the infield. The Yankees haven't scored many runs. 14 runs in their first 5 games. Jeter shows bunt, bunts it foul. They are not yet the Bronx Bombers, that's for sure. They haven't homered in their first 5 games of the season.
Doing it a little bit differently this year, especially at the early part of the season. Move runners, steal some bases. You've got some speed in Gardner and Ellsbury at the top of the lineup. They lost a big bat the other day when Mark Teixeira went on the DL.
0-2 pitch, hit to the right side. You want to draw up how to do it. That's it right there. He had an 0-2 count, gets the inside fastball, and he moves Gardner from second to third.
Let's take a look at the pitch usage for his last start. Drew Hutchison really relied on his fastball. Just didn't seem like the Tampa Bay Ray hitters were picking up his fastball. Deanna Navarro said, let's just do it until they prove that they can start hitting it. So he started using his fastball, helped him out with the sliders, threw that about 20% of the time. You can see the changeup. He only threw 3 changeups the whole game down in Tampa, and Pete Walker wants him to up that to about 12 to 15 this afternoon.
John Gibbons will play the infield back with Jacoby Ellsbury batting third here this afternoon. Neither of these ball clubs have really hit full stride offensively.
Early going pitchers, I think, always have the upper hand.
Ellsbury's had a good series, 6 for 9 in the series. He came in 0 for 7. course, he signed as a free agent in the offseason, spending his entire career in Boston before signing the contract with the Yankees. Hutchison still working out of the stretch. Ground ball. Sturz gobbles it up. Ellsbury's retired. Gardner scores, and the Yankees have taken a 1-0 lead. Leadoff walk. Stolen base. Ground ball to first. Ground ball to second. Just like that, the Yankees are on the board.
Ball hasn't left the infield, and the Yankees get the first run of the ball game. Good situational hitting by the Yanks.
Brian McCann. McCann was the DH yesterday. He's catching this afternoon and takes a pitch inside. He's a pull hitter, and the defense reflects that.
Yeah, he certainly is. 172 home runs over the last 9 years. That's the most by a catcher in Major League Baseball. He likes to get the barrel out and yank the ball, and I think he's going to fit in nicely at Yankee Stadium.
Got a short porch in right, that's for sure. 7-time All-Star, 5-time Silver Slugger. All with the Atlanta Braves. Popped up and out of play. McCann was part of a big offseason spending spree by the New York Yankees. Spent almost $500 million in the offseason. 2-1 pitch inside. Hutchison just missing a bit early in this ball game. And quite frankly, he was missing a bit early in Tampa Bay. His ball was running all over the place, but he had late life on his fastball.
First time that he has been on this mound since June of 2012, so got to get used to that. And his second walk, and that's rare for him.
Well, Pete Walker will come out of the dugout. We spoke to John Gibbons about why the choice for Kratz and not Navarro, because Navarro did such a good job with him last time. And he said, well, we know that the Yankees are going to run a little bit, and we're trying to shut down the running game. So far, the Blue Jays haven't been very effective at all. Opponents have now stole 8 of 9 bases, and he's just trying to get Kratz in there, hopeful that he can kind of slow down the Yankees on the bases.
He also likes his bat in that lineup as a right-handed hitter versus CC Sabathia.
So Alfonso Soriano, he's the DH this afternoon. Goes after that first pitch. So a borderline pitch upstairs. Soriano has let it be known he's not really thrilled about DHing. This is just his 38th career game as a DH. He loves to play in the outfield. Off to a slow start, as you can see. Well, Hutch is really scuffling with his command. He hits Soriano. So there's 2 walks and a hit batter. The Yankees haven't come up with a base hit yet, and they've already scored a run.
You know, he ended up walking 3 batters in Tampa Bay in his first outing. So his command wasn't that good. Today he's just not finishing his pitches. Getting out there, and it's really taken off, as you see where that ball hit Soriano right in the back. I think what he's going to have to do is keep that front shoulder closed just a little bit longer. He's flying open a little bit too much, and his arm is dragging, and that's why that ball is shooting up and away.
Kelly Johnson, the left-handed hitter. Johnson 0 for 4 yesterday. This is really puzzling, I'm sure, for Drew Hutchison himself, because he had such great command all throughout the spring. Yankees lead 1-0. There's a strike. One thing you don't want Hutchison to do is to start aiming the ball. Just trying to throw strikes. You've got to keep your mindset of being aggressive and don't make dramatic adjustments.
He's missing his spots even when he is throwing strikes. That time he wanted that ball away from Kelly Johnson and pulled it over the inside part of the plate.
There's a changeup hit high and deep to center. Cabrera back. This one is off the wall. 1 run is in. Soriano's being waved around third, and there'll be no throw. Kelly Johnson with his second extra base hit of the series, and the Yankees have jumped out on top. 3-0 New York on just one hit.
He had him set up for the changeup, but it catches too much of the plate for Johnson. Kelly Johnson, the veteran hitter, stays back and drives that ball over the head of center fielder Melky Cabrera. 2 more runs are going to score. Meaning he set him up. He threw him a couple of fastballs, and he threw one in. Had him set up for that changeup, but it got too much of the plate.
Brian Roberts, the switch hitting second baseman, goes after the first pitch and loses his bat, a la Edwin Encarnacion. And that fan has a souvenir.
Keep it. No hits in that one. Here's what I was talking about. Watch where Kratz is set up, Buck. He is set up down and away, and the ball's on the inside part of the plate. Drew just hasn't found the feel of his pitches just yet.
Well, we hear it all the time from pitchers about repeating their delivery and how challenging that can be over the course of a season. Here's the 0-1. And when you're dealing with veteran hitters like the Yankees, they're going to sit back and make you throw strikes.
Yeah.
They're not going to chase.
This is going to be pitch number 25 in the first inning, and that'll put a lot of stress on that bullpen.
Well, he strikes out Brian Roberts, but the Yankees, with a couple of walks, a hit batter, and a 2-run double, have taken a 3-0 lead. Before they step to the plate. And John Gibbons, a little encouragement to Drew Hutchison, saying, okay, you got that rough inning out of the way. Struck out Roberts to end the inning. Let's go get him. So let's take a look at the lineup. Top of the order, Melky Cabrera. He's had a good series against his former team. Melky Cabrera is in center field, and that's where he started with the Yankees. He was their everyday center field. In this series, he's 3 for 8 with a couple of solo home runs. Maestro Estorza and Jose Bautista. 86 career home runs here at Rogers Center. That's 4th all time. He's got 3 already this season. Then Encarnacion, Navarro, Kratz, middle of the order. Laurie, Sierra, and Diaz rounded out. And they're going to take on the veteran CC Sabathia.
6 earned runs over 6 innings against the Astros in his first start, looking to bounce back. 14-4 lifetime record against the Blue Jays. And in this ballpark, he is 6-1 with a 2.6 earned run average. Yankees need the big starter.
He is their ace. He has struggled early on in that one start. He really had a tough time against the Houston Astros. They jumped on him early in that last start. He threw 23 pitches in the first inning, was down 4-0. There's a deep drive to left field, high and back. Gardner at the wall. Goodbye, home run. He is hot.
And you know what I really like about Melky here in the early going of the ball game and the ball season? When the pitcher misses his spot, Melky's not missing the ball. Tanaka had a ball up, hit out of the ballpark. Phelps pitched up, hit it out of the ballpark yesterday. And now CC Sabathia, second pitch of the game. Watch where this pitch is. It's up. Melky's eyes light up, and he hits it out of the ballpark.
Boy, do they ever. That's his third career leadoff home run. Second leadoff home run of the season.
Yeah, really, no doubt about it. This one from the right side. Number 3.
Meiser is Stewart. He's off to a nice start to his season. Boy, Melky Cabrera looks like a different player, doesn't he?
Boy, he does. Last year, with all the problems that he had, just wasn't moving very well. And he has hit from day one of spring training.
This is popped over the Yankee dugout out of play. Melky Cabrera had a good month of May last year. In fact, he was the Blue Jays Player of the Month for the month of May. He hit .319 in May with 10 doubles, 2 homers, and 14 RBIs. But boy, after that, it was really evident that he was hurting.
Couldn't run, couldn't move.
Meiser Stewart, we mentioned his great start. He's in there as a switch hitter, so he can hit from the right side against CC Sabathia. 2-2 pitch. Drew Hutchison said, okay, Melky, that's 1. I'll shut him down the rest of the way. You guys just keep clawing back.
I have a feeling that's going to happen today. Both of these teams swinging it right now.
Bouncing ball to third. Solarte made a nice grab, and it's going to be an infield hit for Astros. That was a wicked hop that Solarte had to deal with. He made a nice play with the glove, but it was a 50-50 chance he was going to get it to the bag at first.
You see it all the time when teams come in here to Rogers Center playing against this Astro turf. And the turf, it can take wicked hops. That's why the Blue Jays field is so impressive. They get a chance to play on it every day. The teams come in and you can see that one shot up. He made a good stab at it, but couldn't finish off the play.
Boy, this is a huge inning. Even if they don't score another run, just to say, okay, we're in this ball game with you despite being down. Bautista shortened up as if to bunt. Takes a strike. Bautista and Cabrera with home runs in the 8th inning blew open a 1-0 game. Jose's was a 2-run shot. Melky hit a 1-out solo home run.
Trying to hit another one.
We mentioned Sabathia struggling his last time out. His velocity is down, and against the Astros, he threw just 4 fastballs at 91 miles an hour. That was tops for the outing.
Contrast that to what Sabathia used to throw. He was 96, 97 miles an hour with a fastball with a wipeout slider. He's been around a long time, and I think it's safe to say he's transitioning into a different type of pitcher. Just doesn't have that blazer anymore.
And that has happened to a lot of people. Frank Tanana is one of the best examples. He was a hard-throwing left-hander when he came up with the Angels, and by the time he finished his career in Detroit, he was a off-speed Jamie Moyer type pitcher.
Big curveball, big changeup. I don't think Sabathia will ever be to that.
There's a ground ball. Jeter shovels it to Roberts, over to first, offline and late. Bautista reaches on the fielder's choice.
Very slow play to develop by the New York Yankees defensively. Ball hit on the carpet like that. Should be turned, but it was slowly in the middle of the diamond.
Well, that's the problem you have when you play such dramatic shifts, because Roberts was on the shortstop side of second, and now he's got to go toward second to take the throw from Jeter. He's got to reach back behind him to catch the ball.
Like a shortstop. And the whole timing was messed up. Throw wasn't very accurate, and Blue Jays are alive.
Edwin Encarnacion. Edwin at first base this afternoon. Sabathia has always been an ace. Last couple of years, his velocity has dropped. And you're right, he learned how to command the changeup very well, throw the sinker, but he's almost like he's caught in between. He's not Jamie Moyer or Frank Tanana yet.
Right, because he's so big and strong. He just doesn't have the 95 to 96 like he used to. So he's got to learn how to use his changeup. And I think we saw this towards the end of 2012. More sliders, more changeups, not as many fastballs.
CC Sabathia made his major league debut in 2001 with the Cleveland Indians. He finished second in the Rookie of the Year voting to his right fielder, Ichiro Suzuki. He picked a wrong time to be a rookie, didn't he? Encarnacion spoils a good pitch. Blue Jays had some trouble in the top half of the inning. And the catcher, Eric Kratz, talking to Drew Hutchison, trying to get sorted out here. Maybe work a little quicker. Looks like Hutch and Kratz are agreeing on that. We'll have to watch that tempo when they come out. Another breaking ball, and you can see the pitch is just kind of rolling up to the plate.
They don't have that snap like they used to. And again, that's okay. He's always been a command guy. For as much of a power pitcher as he has been, he's always been a command guy. And he is staying away from Edwin Encarnacion right now.
Well, let me tell you one thing. We have seen him start like this and then turn things around. Remember a game in New York a couple of years ago where he was really scuffling early about the fourth inning. He said, that'll be enough. Started commanding the outside corner using a changeup. But, I mean, he's a champion. He's a thoroughbred. There's no question about it. Full count, one out. Bautista not running. Strike three call. On the inside corner, Edwin, you can see by his face, he didn't necessarily agree with that call.
Well, the amount of pitch usage hasn't really changed from 2012 to 2013. He uses about the same amount. Fastball 57% of the time. Slider and changeup. That's what I mean about the change. He's using it more about the same this year as he did last year. Slider, changeup a little bit more. He mixes in a curveball every now and then. But when he first came up, it was fastball, slider, occasional changeup.
CC was 14-13 last year for the Yankees. His ERA was 4.78. By far the highest of his career. But once again, he threw 200 innings. The alarming number is the fact that he gave up 224 hits
in the 200 innings and 112 earned runs, which was the most in Major League Baseball.
Tanner Navarro DHing this afternoon. Yankees lead at 3-1. Jam shot right to Kelly Johnson, and that'll end the inning. But Melky Cabrera swinging a red-hot bat with his third career leadoff home run puts the Blue Jays on the board, and they cut into the Yankee lead. successful baseball organizations, you look at their record over the last 20 years, they lead the pack. 1,886 wins. That's 60 ahead of the Braves. These 4 teams, there's rich tradition with all of them. And the Yankees, as we mentioned, there's something special about those Yankee pinstripes. Rich tradition of winning. And their standards are always sky high. Anything short of the World Series is a disappointment.
An off year. Second time they missed the playoffs in 19 years last year.
Ichiro Suzuki cuts on that fastball. Suzuki 5 for 9 so far this season. Fights it off, and Hutchison stays ahead of the count. Drew Hutchison had a rough first inning, walked the leadoff man, gave up a stolen base to Brett Gardner, and then he walked Brian McCann with 2 outs and hit Alfonso Soriano. And Suzuki strikes out. Well, we talk about the rich tradition of the New York Yankees. They're all about tradition, and Tony Pena, he's an old school coach, and he says, hey, Michael Pineda, let's straighten up the bill of that cap. You're a Yankee now, son. We got to shave over here, no beards. And he said, no, I got to have my head on crooked.
Say he's going to throw my balance off when I get out there. So I got to turn it and put it right back off to the left.
Now, he's not going to wear it straight, so he's going to take it off.
Take it off altogether, right?
Well, he got that, of course, from King Felix. He came from the Seattle Mariners, and King Felix, we saw him dealing yesterday against Oakland. Felix Hernandez wears that hat cockeyed. There's a little looper into center. Melky Cabrera on the run, makes the grab. Well, if you're wondering about Melky Cabrera playing center field, he was a Yankee center fielder for 3 years, 2006, 7, and 8. And then in Kansas City, when he had his great offensive season, he was the center fielder for the Royals.
Played center field there. A lot easier than playing in the corner. You're facing right into the batter. You can judge that ball off the bat a little bit easier. That time he gets a good jump and makes a nice play. Yeah, center field is not forward to Melky Cabrera. You can see him taking charge out there in the outfield.
Leadoff man Brett Gardner scored the first run of the ball game. Well, we're going to check in on Michael Pineda. Whoops. Yeah, he's back to normal. He got it cockeyed, and that's the way he feels most comfortable. I tell you what, he was comfortable on the mound yesterday, wasn't he?
If you want to wear your hat like that and pitch the way he did yesterday, I'm sure Joe Girardi won't mind it.
Drew Hutchison is zeroed in again. 0-2.
95 with that one.
And you see he's working quicker, and Eric Kratz picked up on that, said, you know what, I'm trying to be a little too deliberate. Change up. In the dirt and blocked. Eric Kratz started out his career with the Toronto Blue Jays. He signed 2002. He was drafted out of Eastern Mennonite University in Harrisburg, Virginia. So he grew up with a lot of these guys on his team. 1-2. Wicked slider. Gardner strikes out. What a bounce back inning for Drew Hutchison. The Yankees down in order. We'll go to the bottom of the second. New York with a 3-1 lead. a game and a first pitch ceremony, and that's DeMar DeRozan of the Raptors, and Mark Burley, who's a Gold Glover, couldn't even make the play on it. But boy, what a season the Raptors have put together. They had a win over Milwaukee last night. They're 2.5 ahead of Brooklyn, and that is Dwayne Casey, the head coach. And congratulations to the Raptors, who are going to the playoffs.
Yep.
Having a great season. They lead the Eastern Conference, and with a 45-32 record, they have had an outstanding season.
Okay, I have one job for you, partner.
Okay.
Score us some playoff tickets. All right?
We could probably do that. We just gave them a nice shout out.
Yeah, let's do a day game here and then walk over to the ACC on a night game.
We'll work on that. Eric Kratz last year hit 9 home runs and 218 at-bats for the Philadelphia Phillies. We mentioned Eric started his professional career 2002 in Medicine Hat. And how many Blue Jays have started in Medicine Hat? Has a breaking ball to the outside corner. Well, Drew Hutchison bounced back after a rocky first inning. Let's see how CC Sabathia handles his second inning.
Kratz got the pinch hit in last night's game in the 7th inning. John Gibbons wanted some extra base pop up there. At the time, there were a couple of runners on, and he wanted to see some extra bases.
Eric Kratz hit a pinch hit home run on opening day against David Price to deep center field. He's got some pop. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Off the end of the bat, squibbed foul.
That is the changeup right there that CC Sabathia has started to throw a little bit more.
CC Sabathia, we mentioned, he joined the Yankees in 2009 as a free agent and threw up a 19-win season. He went 19-8 his first year and had a 21-7 record his second year. Hit hard. Solarte makes a nice grab. Strong throw, and Kratz is retired. Boy, I tell you what, Yannervis Solarte has been impressive in this series. He has played second and third, and in the field he looks comfortable.
I think you can use him anywhere on the diamond. He's that athletic. Look at this backhand. I think he learned something on that first one he had in the first inning off of Asturas to get down low. Stay down low. Keep your eyes about the same height of that baseball, and you can pick that ball off the turf.
Brett Laurie hits it off the end of the bat. Kelly Johnson in a foot race to first will slide just ahead of Laurie. 2 down. Well, the Yankees have had to mix it up on defense because of some injuries. Gardner, Ellsbury, and Suzuki, a couple of Gold Glovers in the outfield. Solarte at third for a second time in this series. Jeter, the Gold Glover, at short. Brian Roberts, former All-Star. Kelly Johnson at first base, and Brian McCann behind the plate for CC Sabathia.
And we have to highlight Yannervis Solarte at third base. Quick hands, good feet. Tell you what, he's raking too with the bat. He is not going to come out of the lineup, I think, for Joe Girardi for a while.
He is 7 for 14. That's a pretty good start to your first major league season. Solarte played 672 games in the minor leagues before he ever got a chance to play in the big leagues. That came in Houston on their first stop on this road trip. Moises Sierra 0 for 5 so far. He's behind 0-2, and it looks like CC Sabathia has made a pretty good adjustment, just like Hutchison.
The good ones, you got to get them early before they get comfortable.
0-2, 2 down. Defense basically straight away for Sierra. Breaking ball down and in. You know, we saw it with R.A. Dickey. He had a rough first start and really bounced back in his second start. Mark Burley addressed it after his outstanding debut this season. He said, hey, you have 11 good ones, 11 bad ones, and 11 you're not really sure about. Over the course of 33 starts during the season, and it's true, pitchers will go to the mound on a given day. Might just not feel right on the mound, take them a while to get going.
Well, you can put one in the column of very good yesterday for R.A. Dickey. I thought he was outstanding.
Yeah, he's 1-1 right now. Yeah. He was great yesterday, that's for sure. Outside, it's a 2-2 count to Sierra. Yankees scored 3 in their half of the first. Blue Jays a solo home run by Cabrera in the bottom half, and R.A. Dickey. There's his battery mate, Josh Tolley. Tolley drove in the game-winning run. First run of the ball game. Inside, you could hear Ron Copa. Number 8 hitter is Sierra. Jonathan Diaz is on deck, the shortstop. He's had a nice start to his season. He's got 3 RBIs. 3-2 pitch. High in the air to center. Ellsbury back on the warning track. He's got room. Moises Sierra drove Ellsbury to the wall in center, but CC Sabathia retires the side in order.
On Sportsnet, brought to you by the 2014 Honda CR-V. Honda, proud to be the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays, and by Home Hardware, homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
Been a nice weekend of baseball here for the Honda opening weekend of the season. The New York Yankees and the Blue Jays have split the first 2 games of this series. The captain, Derek Jeter, will step in to start top half of the third. Jeter is the only Yankee to play 20 seasons in pinstripes.
Broke the tie with Mariano Rivera, who had 19 seasons with the Yanks.
Jeter fouls it straight back to the screen. He's also the only Yankee, and this one really surprises me. He's the only Yankee to amass 3,000 career hits. You would think with their storied history that there would be a DiMaggio or a Gehrig or a Mantle or somebody there, but Jeter stands alone in that regard. 3,318 career hits. Make it 19. That ties him with the great Paul Molitor for 8th on the all-time hits list. They are tied with 3,319 career hits, and that's why Mick Kelleher wants the baseball.
Fastball, and how many times have we seen this from Derek Jeter? That classic inside-out swing. And rifles the ball into right field. 3,000. Steve Donahue's going to put that one, 3,319.
How many of those do you think Jeter has? He's got all kinds of milestones and records. How about that?
Can fill up a room.
He and Molitor are 4th on the all-time American League hit list. Ty Cobb, Tris Speaker, Carl Yastrzemski. Now Jeter and Molitor tied at 4th all-time. They are 100 hits behind Carl Yastrzemski. And that's well within Jeter's reach.
Sure. For 7th, wow.
Jacoby Ellsbury had an RBI ground out his first time up. Steve Donahue, he has seen just about all of Jeter's accomplishments. He's been there for a long time, and he is making sure that he records it accurately. And then someone with a great hand will monogram that baseball and put all the details on it. Ellsbury, good start for him. He came into this series on Friday night 0 for 7. He's had back-to-back 3-hit games and picked up an RBI in his first at bat this afternoon. 2 balls and a strike. Jeter, short lead at first. Good changeup. It'll be interesting, and we mentioned the fact that Hutchison threw just 3 changeups last time out against Tampa Bay. But his catcher, Deanna Navarro, recognized that they weren't picking up his fastball at all.
Yeah, they were pleading with him to try and throw more changeup, and they said, we can't. His fastball's so good. They are picking it up. It was moving all over the place also, so they just stayed with it. You'll probably see a few more this afternoon.
Missed with that pitch inside. Still struggling a bit with his release point. He retired the Yankees in order. Suzuki, Solarte, and Gardner in the top of the 2nd. Jeter might be running here. Ellsbury's pretty good at putting the bat on the ball. McCann is on deck. There he goes. Fouled out of play.
You know, and why wouldn't you start the runner? He's got 6 hits in the first 2 ball games in this series. He's hot. You're playing percentages right now. He's going to make contact. And the worst that you want to come out with it is a runner at second base and just 1 out.
Yeah, and he's playing percentages as well that the Blue Jays aren't going to throw him out. They haven't done a very good job so far this season. They are just now 1 for 9 catching base stealers. Jeter not running this time, and that's bounced off the glove. Behind second is Astros, and Encarnacion jumped high, got a piece of it, and may have kept it from going into right. Astros back up to play. So that'll be an infield hit for Ellsbury, and he continues to rack up the base hits.
Second time that we have seen this. A high chopper and a corner infielder by the Blue Jay can't come up with it. Athletic play by Encarnacion right here to get as high as he can. He just can't come up with it. You're not going to throw Jeter out at second because he took off, and you're not going to throw this man out at first. He runs too well.
First and second, nobody out. Brian McCann, the cleanup hitter, walked and scored in the first. The Blue Jays are dealing with a little bit of a different playing surface here at Rogers Center. The AstroTurf has been redone. It's the same grass, but what they did in the offseason is they dumped all that rubber particles out of the turf and replaced it with new particles. And so far, and we have seen it on that last ball, is a great example. It's a little bouncier than it was a year ago.
Spongier. Yeah, it looks darker.
They have freshened up the turf for sure.
That's going to take a while for those things to find their way down into those blades of the turf.
2-0. Good cut. Fouled it back. Yankees lead it 3-1. They scored 3 runs with the benefit of 1 hit in the first. A couple of walks, a hit batter, and a 2-run double by Kelly Johnson, the first baseman. Now 3-1. Hutchison is making his second career start against the Yankees. They beat them here at Rogers Center back in 2011. 6 strong innings. It's fouled off the umpire. Ron Copra took a pretty good shot right there.
He is challenging McCann with fastballs right here.
Jeter with the leadoff single. Ellsbury had an infield single. He bounced it over Encarnacion at first. McCann with a full count.
Watch where this pitch is. It's up and it's fouled off first Eric Kratz and then the home plate umpire Ron Kolpa. Drew's going to have to get that ball down.
Nobody out. Runners not moving, and McCann may have gone after ball 4. Borderline pitch, tough to take with 2 strikes.
And Hutchison missed his spot again. I was watching him warm up the last couple of innings, and when they try to go away from a left-hander, he's still pulling that ball across his body and throwing it to the inside part of the plate. They wanted that ball down and away.
Struck him out. Fastball, he gets by Brian McCann. That's a huge strikeout in this situation.
It'll help you get out of the inning if you can get a ground ball now. There's country fastball right there. He challenged him with a fastball, and you can see McCann upset with himself that he thought he should have hit that one. But that's the type of swing that we saw from the Rays, where they just were not picking up his fastball down in Tampa.
Alfonso Soriano was hit in the middle of the back his first time up. So now Drew Hutchison would love to get that sinking fastball down in the zone, see if he can't get that double play. Breaking ball just missed inside, but still up in the zone. Flirting with danger upstairs. .93, about belt high.
You know, we were talking about Soriano the other day, and he looks like he's 27 and not 37. 100 RBIs again last year, back-to-back RBIs. Oldest player in Major League history to have back-to-back RBI seasons for the first time in his career.
Drives this ball in the air to right, not deep. Bautista coming in makes the grab. We got quite a contrast in experience here this afternoon when you look at the starting pitchers. CC Sabathia started his career in 2001. He's amassed 416 starts. Drew Hutchison, he had his career interrupted in 2011. He made 10 starts, and then he had 2012, and then he had Tommy John surgery, but he's pitched just 64 innings coming into this game.
And you can see, and we'll watch the veteran presence of CC Sabathia, if he can make the adjustments, as opposed to Drew Hutchison, the young player, getting the feel out there. 2,781 innings pitched.
He leads the pitchers in wins since he made his debut in 2001. He has 205 wins. He also leads in strikeouts. Let me correct myself. Tim Hudson had a win already this season. He has 206 wins now. So he is one ahead of CC Sabathia.
Two great pitchers.
Active pitchers. Yep.
Two great pitchers. Big game pitchers, number one, that you could throw at the top of your pitching staff.
Drew Hutchison, boy, he got out of a nasty jam. First and second, nobody out. Gets a strikeout, a fly out, and Kelly Johnson caught looking at an inside hitter. Hutchison starting to zero in on that strike zone. games, the Blue Jays pay special tribute to the Canadian Forces. Today they salute Master Warrant Officer Marty Reyes. Reyes has deployed twice to Afghanistan. He's also recently deployed to the Philippines as a liaison officer with the Canadian Disaster Assistance Response Team. Great opportunity to acknowledge a fine member of Canadian Forces, Master Warrant Officer Marty Reyes. Number 9 hitter Jonathan Diaz will start things off here in the bottom of the third. He takes a strike from CC Sabathia. Sabathia has retired 6 straight. Jonathan Diaz was summoned from the minor leagues after Jose Reyes was placed on a disabled list after game 1 of the season. Played very well in the field. Made some spectacular plays in Tampa Bay.
And he has really held his own offensively.
He's given him good at-bats.
Yes.
Reyes, for a second consecutive day, took ground balls, took batting practice, and he's coming along nicely. Reyes is not eligible till April 16th. He was placed on a disabled list on April 1st. He will go out and play a couple rehab games, probably down to Dunedin, where it's nice and warm. Get some at-bats, get some action in the field, and then make his return. There's a good slider, and Diaz strikes out. So that'll bring the leadoff hitter to the plate, Melky Cabrera, and he's put together a great first week of the season.
You know, 30 hits in spring training, the most in baseball, and he has kept it up once the bell has rung for the regular season to start. This is an infield single. This is impressive right here. We never saw him run like that at all last year. And now he's turning on pitches. Just 3 home runs all of last year when he was in there. This is number 3 of the week. Off-speed pitch, and Melky connects for the home run. He could always hit.
There's a first pitch sinker ball down and away, and that looked like it clipped Brian McCann, the catcher. Well, when you think about Melky Cabrera's career, a couple of years ago he was leading the National League in hitting when he was suspended for that failed drug test, and he was the MVP that year in the All-Star game in Kansas City. He has always been able to swing the bat.
And he loves facing his former team, the Yankees. Now up over 320 in his career versus New York. I think that's just natural for a guy when he gets traded away from a team to say, I'm going to prove you wrong.
Well, there's a good changeup, and just like we thought, CC Sabathia has ironed out some early problems.
Blue Jays on Sportsnet, brought to you by the 2014 Honda CR-V. Honda, proud to be the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Kevin Seitzer always debriefing his hitters on their last at bat, going over things with Jonathan Diaz. Seitzer has his hitters well prepared.
Yeah, I asked him about that today. He doesn't talk about fundamentals of hitting or the mechanics of hitting during the game. They talk about what their approach is, what the pitcher's trying to do, what he threw you, those type of things to keep you thinking.
There's a bouncing ball through the left side. Meiser Restoris. He's already 2 for 2 this afternoon. Well, we talked about Melky Cabrera having a hot week. How about Jose Bautista?
Well, it started off in Tampa. This one against Matt Moore. Curveball, see you later. His first, and then the second off of Josh Lukey. What's impressive about all of this, he's getting a lot of off-speed pitches, and he's not missing it. David Phelps yesterday, another off-speed pitch. He hangs it and takes it out of the ballpark. 3rd home run this week for Jose. And what does it mean for the Blue Jays to have Bautista in the lineup or out of the lineup?
Bouncing ball up the middle. Brian Ravitch ranges to the right side of second to end the inning. So Sabathia gives up a 2-out single. Blue Jays leave a runner. We'll head to the 4th. 3-1 New York. current or retired teacher who's a classroom all-star. Someone who's made a difference in the lives of students as well as in the community. One teacher will be selected to represent the Blue Jays at the 2014 All-Star Game in Minnesota this summer. For details or to nominate, go to allstarteachers.com. Of course, we all have teachers in our past that had an impact, and my history teacher was my baseball coach in my senior year. He knew a lot about history. Not so much about baseball.
oh, you're saying he was a better teacher than a baseball coach. I thought you meant his history was good in baseball.
No, he was a very good history teacher. Brian Roberts. He knows a little bit about the history of baseball. His father was the head coach at University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill for a long time. Players like B.J. Surhoff and Walt Weiss played at North Carolina. They were Tar Heels, and Brian Roberts, about 4 years old, was hanging out every day at the old ballpark.
Boy, what a difference when you grow up around the game. You feel comfortable in the big league locker room. You're not intimidated when you finally get to the big leagues.
Well, and you also learn little nuances that other people don't have the advantages to learn. And he takes a leadoff walk, and that's not good. He's a base stealing threat. He has a stolen base in this series. That's the third walk that Hutchison has allowed this afternoon. He's also hit a batter. He pitched around trouble last inning. Gave up back-to-back singles to start the inning, but then got a strikeout, a flyout, and a strikeout. Ichiro Suzuki, the batter, was a strikeout victim his first time up. Roberts got a terrific jump. No chance at all for the catcher, and Diaz just knocks it down. There's what we were talking about with Roberts. He has a knack for bouncing off first base before the pitcher even moves.
Nuances of the game that you learn. Look at that. He gets a running start against the Blue Jays. They're not going to throw him out. I don't care if Johnny Bench is catching. You are not going to throw out a base runner when he gets that type of lead and that type of jump. So what do you have to do as a pitcher? You got to throw over there just a little bit more. I think you have to vary your times to home. Step off a couple of times when Roberts is at first base.
Yeah, Hutchison has to be aware that when Roberts is aboard, and the Yankees have used the stolen base throughout this series. They had 4 stolen bases in the opener on Friday night. Roberts had 1. He'll also steal third. 0-2 to Ichiro. Strike 3 swinging. Ichiro has struck out twice. So far, the combination isn't bad. The walks haven't really hurt him as much, but he's been able to rack up the strikeouts. This is number 6.
And a perfectly placed pitch right there. You see, it looked like Ichiro was trying to anticipate that ball away from him, and he tied him up with that fastball in the inner half.
Jonathan Diaz shadowing Roberts at second, trying to cut down his lead. Yanirvis Solarte, the third baseman. He flied out to center his first time up. He's a switch hitter and a versatile player. Can play the infield and the outfield.
And the outfield. Joe Girardi was telling us that yesterday.
There's that break at second. Robert breaks back, and Solarte fouls it off. Brian Roberts reads the back of the pitcher's head. He looks, he'll watch when the pitcher's looking at him, and then he'll time it. When he sees the back of that pitcher's head, he'll break to third.
You've heard that term, a one-looker? Well, Drew Hutchison has been a one-looker so far today when there was a runner at second base, meaning he takes one look and then goes home. Brian Roberts was trying to time him up.
This ball is hit high and deep to center field. Cabrera back. It is off the warning track and bounces out of play. Brian Roberts will jog home on the ground rule double. Blue Jays can't figure out Solarte.
I think they have to start throwing him something other than a fastball, because he has proven in this series that he can turn around and hit a fastball. This pitch is belt high over the middle of the plate. And I don't care who you are, you're going to hit that hard somewhere. Now try a couple of sliders and some changeups next time he comes up.
Well, the stolen base proved to be pivotal. Roberts scored on the ground rule double from second after he stole second base. Solarte has 5 hits and 3 doubles in the series. Upstairs for a ball to leadoff man. Brett Gardner. He's walked and struck out so far. (4-1) New York. Another pitch upstairs, and Hutchison all of a sudden again is missing up. Yankees have scored 4 runs on 4 hits.
That leadoff walk. 3 walks have come around to score. In the other run, he was put aboard by a hit by a pitch. And Hutchison's got great control. He hasn't shown it today.
Two balls and a strike. Brett Gardner at the plate, 1 out. Yankervis Solarte is at second. Foul back. Drew Hutchison is from Lakeland, Florida. Small town in central Florida. But what's interesting about today, his high school teammate is starting for the Chicago White Sox, Chris Sale. So you know that high school coach is a pretty proud papa today, watching 2 of his former players make big league starts here on Sunday.
I think I could coach a high school team with Chris Sale and Drew Hutchison as my 1 and 2.
2-2 pitch inside and blocked by Kratz. He snap throws to second, but Solarte is heads up. Eric Kratz making his first start of the season for the Blue Jays. He was with them all spring and got a lot of opportunities to catch. Showed some power.
Did not make the team out of spring training.
They opted to go with Josh Tolley, who is very well versed on catching Dickey's knuckleball. There's a drive to right. Brett Gardner has just hit the Yankees' first home run of the season. A 2-run shot to right.
That was a long time coming for the New York Yankees, the Bronx Bombers, with their first home run. And it was probably from the unlikeliest Yankee hitter. Brett Gardner, not really known for power. He turned on this pitch. Off-speed pitch. It spun over the middle of the plate, sped his bat up, grits his teeth, and hits a line drive out of here in right field.
Brett Gardner has always hit well against the Blue Jays. Came into this game with a .338 average. That's his 5th career home run against the Jays. It's also his 2nd career home run at Rogers Center. 6-1 Yankees, and Pete Walker has taken the slow walk to the mound. Generally, that indicates that the bullpen is up and working. And Walker very deliberately walked to the mound, and indeed, the bullpen is active.
Buy some time. Todd Redmond is up, starting to get loose.
Ron Kopa, the home plate umpire, went out to break up the meeting, and it broke up before he got there. Bob Stanley, the bullpen coach, answering the phone to check on the status of Redmond. They want to know, can you be ready for the next guy? Because once you make the trip to the mound, the pitcher on the mound has to finish the at-bat. So New York leads at 6-1. Derek Jeter takes one downstairs. Their first home run of the season came on team at bat number 184. That's the 3rd longest drought to start a season, and Jeter has another hit. Jeter is 2 for 3 so far. The Yankees in 1990 took 229 at bats to get their first home run. In 1975, it took them 234. So that Jeter hit's going to end the day for Drew Hutchison. He gives up 6 runs on 6 hits. The runner at first is his responsibility, and he certainly battled his command early in this game. Fell behind 3-0 with 2 walks, a hit batter, and just 1 hit, all coming in the first inning. So Todd Redmond comes into the ballgame. He'll make his first appearance of the season. Experience in baseball. The Fan, and welcome to Joe Siddle. His first year with Jerry Howard in the radio booth. Mike Wilner also alongside. Tom Young is the producer, and hi to you, Tom Young, as well. Drew Hutchison, disappointing start here this afternoon. He goes 3 1/3. He is charged with 6 runs so far. I misspoke, obviously. Todd Redmond pitched here Friday night.
Yeah, he came in when Dustin McGowan was knocked out after 2 2/3 innings. Todd only threw an inning and 2/3 in that game. They're going to need to stretch him out, I think, this afternoon.
Jacoby Ellsbury tried to check his swing on that inside pitch and fouled it back. Blue Jays bullpen has been used a lot early. They're a little bit beat up right now. So you would hope Todd Redmond can dig down deep and give them 3, maybe 4 innings here this afternoon.
You know, that surprises me a little bit because this is Game 7 and they've gotten 3 really pitched ball games so far this year. The Burley game, Dickey game yesterday, and the Hutchison game, all zeros put up by the starters in those 3 games. It's the other ones where they've really taken a toll on the bullpen.
Yeah, and the bullpen has a new arm down there. Marcus Walden, you saw him standing next to Sergio Santos. He has not pitched yet. But when you look at Santos, he's got 3 appearances. Loop has 3 appearances. Cecil has 3 appearances.
In the first week.
First 6 games. Ellsbury late on that pitch upstairs.
Jay Happ had a rehab start yesterday. I believe he threw 5 innings down in Dunedin. So when he is back, that might be another arm that they might put down in that bullpen to stretch it out a little bit.
You'd certainly like to have these 2 left-handers available, and they might be available today with the Yankees stacked with lefty hitters. 1-2, 1 out. Outside. Redmond, of course, has been a starter most of his career, so he has the ability of stretching out his outing.
Yeah, and he stretched out. Blue Jays did a good job this spring in getting him innings, getting him plenty of work, stretching him out, so if something like this happens where the starter gets knocked out early, he can give you one time through the lineup. Ellsbury batting third
this afternoon. Joe Girardi talked about separating Gardner and Ellsbury, making sure that they're not back-to-back in the order. That's the way they hit Friday night in the opener. Waved at and missed. Redmond made a good pitch for the strikeout. Well, the Yankees, we talked about how long it had been since they had homered. They hadn't had a home run this year, and the Yankees didn't even know how to celebrate.
How to practice.
Brett Gardner got the silent treatment. Took them 184 at bats before Gardner connected for the first home run for the Bronx Bombers. Brian McCann has walked and struck out. 2 down. Good changeup in a good spot. Oh, 0-2. Jeter with a short lead at first. Edman dropped down from the side and missed the outside corner.
If they do decide to start Jeter, you got to be wary that third base is uncovered. They got the shift on like that, so if he does take off, somebody's got to cover third.
Hit on the ground sharply, but it's gobbled up by Astros at straightaway second. The inning is over. But the Yankees scored 3 in the first and 3 in the fourth. All off Drew Hutchison. Brett Gardner hits a home run, and the fan just missed a souvenir. Blue Jays in 60 seconds on Sportsnet.ca after the game. So if you happen to be away from the TV, you can always check out the ball game on Sportsnet.ca. Get all the highlights in. If you missed a particular pitch or you missed a Melky Cabrera home run, check it out on Sportsnet.ca. Edwin Encarnacion takes the first pitch strike. We talk about Kevin Seitzer a lot, and Kevin Seitzer has brought a different attitude to this ball club in regards to hitters' mindsets when they come to the plate. It's about a winning approach, thinking the big picture, not just necessarily your particular at bat in an isolated situation, but how are you going to beat the Yankees in the series? How are you going to have an impact in affecting their bullpen?
Do you need to take a pitch? Maybe try and get that pitch count up.
Encarnacion grounds out to short.
I think as a professional hitter, and Kevin Seitzer was a professional hitter, if you remember him with the Kansas City Royals, I think you have to go up there with a plan. I think you don't go up there and just, all right, I got 3 hacks, I'm going to swing hard just in case I hit it. You have to have an idea up there. And against CC Sabathia, more changeups, more sliders than what we have seen in the past. So I think your game plan should be, let's go back through the middle.
And your approach in game 1 might have an impact over the entire series. Yonder Navarro's the DH. He grounded out to first. For instance, Friday night, David Robertson, the closer, into a ball game. Yankees had a big lead. But if you make him throw a lot of pitches, he might not be available for the next night.
Or the rest of the series. And I think we saw that a little bit too much from the Blue Jays over the last couple of years. And that's a perfect example of it. The closer comes in, and you go ahead and swing at the first pitch a couple of times, and he's got a 6, 7, 8 pitch inning. He can come back the next day, or for sure the day after that.
Navarro hits it off the end of the bat. Good speed in the outfield. The left fielder, Brett Gardner, runs it down. 2 outs.
Conversely speaking, if you make the closer throw 15, 20 pitches the first day of a series, you might not see Dave Robertson the rest of the time.
Yeah.
And the Blue Jays did a good job of making him work the other day.
The great late Sparky Anderson managed Cincinnati and the Tigers, of course, always said the scoreboard tells you all the strategy you need to know. Gives you the score, of course. Tells you where you are in the ball game, how many outs and how many runs behind you are. That should be enough information for any batter to know, I got to take a strike. Need to get on base.
And if you can't hit 0-1 or with 2 strikes up here, you don't have a reason to be here.
Only takes 1 strike to get a hit.
It makes it a little bit tougher when you take a strike, but you should be able to hit with 1 strike.
CC Sabathia gave up a leadoff home run to Melky Cabrera in the first, and Astros followed with a single. Then he has settled down. He's allowed just 1 hit since the first. Astros has 2 hits. Cabrera has the other, the leadoff homer, and that's it. So much for the announcement of the demise of CC Sabathia. Yeah. 1-2. Strike 3 called. CC Sabathia painted that outside corner. That's his 4th strikeout of the afternoon. We've played 4. Yankees lead at 6-1. Now time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zorn. Inspire, courtesy of TD. And over in the Jays Care Community Clubhouse, our guests from Make-A-Wish Canada. Welcome to Rogers Center. Don't be down. Blue Jays are going to come back. 6-1. Lots of time left. Have a good day at Rogers Center. Great to have you here. Alfonso Soriano takes one inside off the plate. Todd Redmond in relief of Drew Hutchison. There's that inside breaking ball. Redmond came in with 1 out in the 4th and struck out Ellsbury and got McCann to ground out.
Simple repertoire for him. Redmond, fastball, slider, and a changeup. He hides the ball well also. I've talked to players on the opposition, say they just can't pick the ball up off of Redmond. Slings it towards home plate.
Got underneath that pitch and elevated out the strike zone. Boy, sling is a good word to use in referencing Redmond's style. He really kind of throws that front shoulder at you, and that ball comes in that slinging motion. There's a little flare, and that's going to be the first hit of the season for Alfonso Soriano. Came into this ball game 0 for 16. He's now 1 for 17, and that brings a big smile to his face. I can hit.
Yeah. You know, there are times where you go, I don't know if I can hit anymore, if I'm ever going to find one. So it elicits a smile after that little single to right field.
He's a great hitter. Just had a slow start. Kelly Johnson, big 2-run double in the 1st. I don't think anybody really understands what this Yankee team is going to do. A lot of question marks. Of course, now they've got Teixeira on the DL. Kelly Johnson's going to play first almost exclusively without Teixeira available. Teixeira strained a hamstring. He's on the DL, went back to New York to have it checked out.
Going to have an MRI to see the severity of that. I think, first of all, no Robinson Cano. So, great hitter taken out of that lineup, in the middle of that lineup, gone.
Kelly Johnson hits a fly ball to left. Moises Sierra has it measured and makes the catch. 1 down.
The 2014 Honda CR-V. Honda, proud to be the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Back-to-back sellouts to start the season. Friday night and Saturday afternoon. Another good crowd on hand this afternoon. On the ground is Torres to Diaz, back to first, just like that time. Redmond erases that leadoff single. Is Torres with a good throw to the shortstop, who took care of it. We'll go to the bottom of the 5th. The Blue Jays trail by 5. Zone Shide of 80 gives his expert analysis and opinions on Canada's national team. Be sure to check it out. Shai Davidi on sportsnet.ca. Shai does a great job of digging inside the stories and bringing it to you. And you can hear all about it, read all about it on sportsnet.ca. Bottom of the 5th. Yankees have out-hit the Blue Jays 7-3. They lead 6-1. Bottom 3rd of the Jays order. Lori, Sierra, and Diaz against CC Sabathia. Sabathia. We mentioned his rough start first time out against the Houston Astros. He gave up 4 runs in the first inning and took a loss. Gave up a run in the first inning this afternoon, but just 1 hit after the first inning. Blue Jays have mustered just 3 total.
You know, the one thing I like about CC Sabathia when you watch him, he's a big guy with long arms. And with big guys, there's a lot of moving parts to big pitchers. But he really stays together over that rubber. He's got that little bit of a hitch where he hides the ball behind him. But he stays together. That ball is popped up and made by Robert. But he stays together and he gathers himself over the mound. I think that really helps him to throw strikes.
Roberts had to wait on that high pop-up, but CC Sabathia mentioned his career numbers. He has been terrific. 205 career wins.
How about the strikeouts in that game last time out against Houston? He became the 12th Yankee pitcher to record 1,000 strikeouts with the Yankees.
His career has been impressive. He owns a 14-4 record against the Blue Jays, including a 6-1 record here at Rogers Center.
And if my math is correct, his next strikeout will be 2,400 for his career. So a real good chance of getting the 3,000.
Tipped and fouled into the glove of Brian McCann. CC Sabathia has pitched ahead all afternoon. 14 first pitch strikes out of 17 plate appearances. He is pounding that strike zone early. Just off the plate outside. We mentioned the value of that first pitch strike. Since 2010, the Major League batting average in at bats where the pitcher throws a first pitch strike, 225. I'll take my chances, and as a catcher, I always tried to convince my pitchers that get ahead. Then you put so much doubt in the hitter's mind.
You can do so many different things. How about if you throw a first pitch ball?
The average jumps to 271. So immediately you're 50 points better.
50 points. Throw strikes. Still the best pitch in baseball.
2-2 pitch hit hard, but right to the left fielder, Brett Gardner. Sierra lines out, 2 down. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Any accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. We're in the bottom of the 5th here at Rogers Center. Yankees trying to win the series 2-1. Have a 6-1 lead. Number 9 hitter Jonathan Diaz struck out his first time up. The velocity, we talked about that being down for Sabathia. That last pitch was 89 miles an hour. And of course, velocity isn't the end all and be all. Just ask Mark Burley about that.
It's the last thing I think you should worry about. Command and control, deception.
Great Tom Seaver talks about 3 aspects of pitching. Velocity is 1, movement is 2, and the third is location. And he believes that location and movement have a lot more importance and a bigger impact on an at-bat than velocity.
Absolutely. You know, as a hitter, those pitchers who threw 100 miles an hour but it was straight, you could turn those balls around.
I couldn't. Maybe you will.
But then you face those guys who would think right along with you, and they would move the ball in and out. You just never felt comfortable at the plate.
Oh, the one guy that used to give me fits was Scotty McGregor. He threw about 84 miles an hour, and I just never could gauge what his pitches were doing. He'd flip a curveball up there about 70. Changeup was about 75, and that fastball maxed out at 84.
That's so funny because I loved hitting Scotty McGregor. Every time I see him, I go over and shake his hand. I say, he kept me in the big leagues.
Made me a lot of money, Scotty. Well, the opposite was true with me. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Boy, Ron Copa looked like he wanted to shoot that right arm into the air, and that pitch tracker suggests Diaz might have gotten a break. It's a full count. The red hot Melky Cabrera is on deck. He's homered already this afternoon. Pops back out of play. Well, the Blue Jays certainly have enough thunder in their lineup to come back in this game. They went into the bottom of the 8th inning in a 1-0 game yesterday. They were ahead 1-0 and then hit 2 home runs. So Edwin Encarnacion, he's talking to Brett Lawrie about hitting. You know he is.
Oh, yeah.
He's taken Lawrie under his wing. Helped him look at video, helped him break down video, and they're talking about CC Sabathia, and boy, is he on a roll. CC Sabathia retires the side in order. Fans, here comes the Home Hardware Cleanup Crew, brought to you by Natura. Home Hardware's exclusive line of safe, environmentally friendly cleaning products. What trades fell through? What happened with the Irvin Santana situation? Here's your chance. Blue Jays in Focus with Alex Anthopoulos. Following the game today, some great access you don't want to miss right here on Sports. Ichiro Suzuki has struck out twice this afternoon. Suzuki, coming into this game, was 5 for 9. Drew Hutchison struck him out twice. Hutchison had 6 strikeouts in 3 1/3. He also had 3 walks, and 2 of those 3 walks come around to score, and he hit a batter. All 3 of those walks scored.
Yeah, all 3 of those walks came around to score, and he hit Soriano, and he came around to score on a double by Kelly Johnson. So just a tick off in his command this afternoon.
So Todd Redmond, he had a double play to end the top of the 5th. Ichiro spoils a good pitch. Redmond got Brian Roberts to ground into a 4-6-3 double play.
Outfield played him very shallow in left field. We have seen Ichiro slash that ball to left field so many times.
On the ground through the right side into right. Ichiro Suzuki has a base hit. It comes with 2 strikes. The pitch tracker is brought to you by Acer, official partner of the Toronto Blue Jays. Pitch tracker has given you a bird's eye view of the 3-dimensional strike zone. It's been very effective. Ichiro now 1 for 3. And here comes this hot hitter, Yankees Solarte. He doubled and drove in a run back in the 4th. Suzuki dives back in the 1st. He had 2 strikeouts, as we mentioned, which is really unusual. Suzuki, 2,064 games. It's just the 134th time he's had 2 strikeouts in a game. If you think I'm just that quick and come up with those numbers, you're mistaken. It's our great Scott Carson who gives me all that good information. Always at the ready to deliver some great facts and figures to this broadcast.
About a 3 strikeout game. Todd Redmond was close to that. Just missed.
Yankees Solarte, the 3rd baseman, had a good series here at Rogers Center. 5 hits, including 3 doubles. So he's just not flaring it. He's putting a charge in it. And the Yankees kind of didn't really know what they had in spring training. He came to camp as a minor league invite. Spent last season in AAA Round Rock with the Texas Rangers organization.
Well, he did what he had to do to open up some eyes. Hit and play some defense. And once he started hitting, the Yankees took notice.
Solarte's from Venezuela. He always plays winter ball, and that just gives him an edge. And when he came to camp, he made an impression on Joe Girardi. Pops this one up. Looked like a changeup. He was out on that front foot. Izturis calls for it. Bautista will let him have it. 1 out.
That's good to see. I told you last time up he was hitting a fastball. Try something different, and Redmond pulled the string on him. Do a changeup. Got him out in front. That's the first thing you usually do when you have a new player, a young player, come to the big leagues. Let's see if he can hit the fastball. Well, he has proven in this series that he can do just that.
Look at all the hitters listening to Solarte about that last pitch. Beltran, Soriano, and Cervelli, they were all looking intently at Solarte as he described what that last pitch was. They haven't seen a lot of Todd Redmond. And I thought it was interesting. Look at Beltran. He's still listening. They know they're going to see this guy rest of the year. They play 19 games a season.
Everybody could tell that it was a changeup, but there might be something that he'll say that could tip it off. He said, hey, I saw the changeup big time. Look for this.
There goes Suzuki. The throw to second is close, but not in time. Ichiro Suzuki. It's his first steal, and here comes the skipper, John Gibbons.
High leg kick, and it's a good pitch to throw on. The ball hit the dirt. It is picked by Diaz, and from that replay right there, it looked like Suzuki with that straight-on slide was in safe with the stolen base.
Well, that's a good point. That straight leg slide, and they are going to review it. So the crew chief is the third base umpire, Dana DeMuth. And he's going to go over to the headsets. 2 umpires go to the headsets, and they will call New York, and New York will look at the replays and give them their decision. There are only 3 rulings that can come out of this replay. Confirmed, which means clear and convincing evidence the call on the field was correct. The second option is stands. No clear and convincing evidence to confirm or overturn the call. And the third is overturn. Watch the straight leg slide. The glove is not in contact. And right there, boy, it's bang, bang. And if you can tell from that, safer out, you're better than me.
I guess the center field camera might be a little bit better angle because you'll know when the glove hits him in the leg. But from that angle, for me, it looked like that foot got in there.
Danny DeMuth is on the left of your screen. He's the crew chief. The umpire that made the call is Lance Barrett. He's the second base umpire. So they are listening to the team in New York, and that's where all of the rulings are made. The umpires are out of it once they go to that review.
Well, we had this review yesterday, and Joe Girardi was telling us today about that play at the plate. It was, they're still not sure about the call at the plate. The call here was safe.
Boy, is the foot on the bag there? Tough to tell. Remember, it has to be clear and convincing evidence to overturn the call on the field. Ichiro Suzuki is at second currently with his first stolen base of the season. They've taken a long time, and that gives you an idea that it's really difficult for them to determine that there's enough evidence to overturn the call.
Well, it got the Yankees a couple of runs the other night when they overturned the call at first base with Suzuki, and they got him 2 runs. Let's see. Safe.
Danny DeMuth is looking up to the press box. And Ichiro has been deemed safe, so we don't know whether it was confirmed or if it stands, but we don't know what the ruling was, but they didn't have enough information to confirm it, that it should be overturned. So Ichiro's at second base. He had a single. Then after the pop-up, he steals second. Leadoff man Brett Gardner's had a good day at the plate. Gardner hit the first home run for the Yankees this season in his last at-bat. Ball and a strike. Pulled foul, another off-speed pitch. Todd Redmond came into the ball game in the 4th inning with 1 out. Got out of the inning with a strikeout and a ground out. Faced the minimum in the 5th. Gave up a leadoff single to Soriano, but got an inning-ending double play off the bat of Brian Roberts.
Blue Jays have an off day tomorrow, so they'd like to see Redmond go 3, maybe even 4 innings this afternoon and give some of those relievers some time off.
Yeah, I agree with that. Just to get them recharged. Off day before Houston comes to town Tuesday night.
Hold it right here, so the offense, give the offense a chance to come back. And that's a good start right there with a strikeout.
Gardner strikes out. That's the second strikeout recorded by Todd Redmond. Looks like a high fastball.
Just couldn't pick it up. That ball was by him before he could make contact. That rising fastball.
The Yankees will go home to open up their home schedule. Remember, they opened up in Houston and then came here to Toronto. It'll be opening day against the Baltimore Orioles. It'll be a day game. And as the Yankees do, they always celebrate opening day, and they have a special ceremony tomorrow that's going to feature the core 4. And this gentleman right here, Derek Jeter, part of the core 4 that led the Yankees to all of those World Series victories. Andy Pettitte, Mariano Rivera, Jorge Posada, and Derek Jeter. They will all participate in the Yankees opening day ceremonies.
Rivera and Pettitte throwing out first pitches to Jeter and Posada.
Ball and a strike to Derek Jeter. He's had a 2-hit day and has moved into the 8th spot all alone as the 8th all-time hit leader, past Paul Molitor, tied him with his first hit, passed him with his second hit. Now he's 99 hits behind Carl Yastrzemski for 7th all-time.
He always has a flair, doesn't he, whenever he does something? That game where he got his 3,000th hit off of David Price. Home run. Amazing.
Now Redmond strikes him out. Back-to-back strikeouts again. Tyron Redmond leaves a Yankee base runner. We'll go to the bottom of the sixth. Blue Jays trail the Yankees 6-1. Honda CRV. Honda, proud to be the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Melky Cabrera hit 3 home runs in 344 at-bats last year. This is his 27th at-bat this year, and it's his 3rd home run. He matches his home run total from last year in the first week. He's putting in finishing touches on an outstanding first week of the season.
Melky Cabrera led Major League Baseball with hits in spring training, and he carried that hot bat right into the regular season. He is 1 for 2 with that leadoff home run, his 3rd career leadoff home run. Melky Cabrera hit a leadoff home run here on Friday night against Masahiro Tanaka. Tanaka's first major league batter. Took him deep, and then he took it the rest of the way.
Yeah. He had a big one here yesterday afternoon. It was a 1-0 game. David Phelps came in. Phelps' career numbers against the Blue Jays are crazy, but the Jays hitters were very rude to him. Home run, double home run, blew that game open.
Hey, let's hit some homers, huh? Very creative. Young group of fans with a nice sign. Bounced in the dirt. Mentioned Cabrera. He hit his first career leadoff home run last May against Chris Tillman of the Orioles. Of course, Melky doesn't mess around. Tillman is the ace of the Orioles. Tanaka, the prized free agent signee of the Yankees, and CC Sabathia. One of the best left-handers in the game.
Why mess with those 3s and 4s, right? Just take those number 1s deep.
Chases that pitch up and away, and Sabathia racks up his 6th strikeout. That's how the Blue Jays start out here in the bottom of the 6th.
Little rocky to start this game was CC Sabathia, but he's cruising right now. 3 up and 3 down in the 5th. Same as the 4th, just a scratch hit in the 3rd. He's only had 1 base runner since the 1st inning.
Sabathia had 6 strikeouts in his debut against Houston. He's matched that number here. Difference in that first outing was he gave up 6 runs on 8 hits. Today, just 1 run on 3 hits. Miser Astures has 2 of those 3 hits. Astros with an impressive .571 batting average. It's a good way to start your season. Get a little cushion for those rough days that are ahead.
Yeah, especially last year. Meister got off to a very slow start. Opened up at third base, played some second base. He was going back and forth on the infield, not real comfortable.
Right back to the mound. Sabathia grabs it. 2 down. Well, we knew the 7 games to start the season were going to be a tough stretch for the Blue Jays when we saw the season schedule, but take a look at the pitchers they had to face through those first 7 games.
And that's why those teams are so good. They've got great starting pitching. Price, Cobb, Moore, and Archer we saw down in Tampa and split with them. Tanaka, Pineda, and Sabathia here in these 3 games. Hey, that's what the American League East is all about right there. When you want to try and win the East, you got to go through some great pitching.
Okay, Mr. Tabler, who impressed you most out of that list of 7 starters?
Out of those 7 starters, I have a 1 and a 1A.
Okay.
Pineda and Archer.
How about that? The 2 kids. I agree with you. I don't know who I would have put first, but Chris Archer was electric and Pineda was impressive. He threw his changeup and slider over the plate almost at will.
His slider was outstanding, and you know, I don't know if it's because we've seen those other guys before and we've seen a lot of them.
Oh, they were pretty good.
They were pretty good. Tanaka was good too, I thought. But there was something about Pineda yesterday and Archer. I was very impressed with Archer.
Tony Pena, the bench coach of the Yankees, was really pleased with Pineda. He said he was happy for them because Pineda missed the entire 2012 season with the shoulder surgery and then pitched in the minor leagues last year and made his way back. He was impressive. Bautista hits it off the end of the bat. That's going to drop for a base hit. That ball has all kinds of spin on it. Ichiro hushes it back to the infield. But Bautista is aboard.
Got to take it right off the end of the bat, and if somebody's giving them trouble on that one, you just say, hey, I hit it the way you threw it. Looked like an off-speed pitch from Sabathia, hit it right off the end of the bat. But that'll make up for some of those line drives that you hit right at them.
Bautista has reached base in all 7 games. He has 3 homers. He has 7 walks. His on-base percentage coming into this game was .440. Edwin Encarnacion shoots one to right. Bautista will stop at second. Ichiro's got a cannon for an arm. Airmails it all the way to third. Back-to-back 2-out singles.
That guy in right field can still throw. Ball hit hard by Edwin. He goes the other way and gets a base hit. And Ichiro not taking anything chance. He came up firing from right field. Check out this throw from Ichiro. He's been around a long time. He's always had a great arm. On the fly and on target.
Right on the money. Bautista knew he wasn't going anywhere. But Ichiro never takes anything for granted. So Bautista and Encarnacion back-to-back singles. They come with 2 outs. Deanna Navarro, the DH this afternoon, has gone 0 for 2 trying to keep the line moving. Sabathia drops the breaking ball in there.
Just painting. Just keeping the ball away from those right-handed batters as much as possible. I wouldn't even look for fastballs from him anymore. Look for something off speed. And until you get the 2 strikes, just take the fastball. He's just going to show it to you.
Don't you think that would be a good approach anyway, given the decreased velocity?
Sure. You know, and now you've sat here for 5 innings and you've watched it. Off-speed pitch, change-ups away, backdoor cutters. He'll show you the fastball every now and then.
It's only the 6th inning. There's plenty of time for the Blue Jays to come back in this ball game.
Well, they got to start scoring. Now would be a good time.
Rip past the third baseman. Here comes Bautista. He's going to score. Encarnacion is headed for second, and Navarro will jog into second with an RBI 2-out double. chip away.
Come up with clutch hits. That's what you need to do. I think if you're thinking in the middle of the diamond against Sabathia right now, you're going to pull him naturally. If he happens to cut the ball on the inner half, you're naturally going to pull him. I think that's what Navarro does right there. Yanks that slider, cutter hybrid past Solarte for extra bases. Jays need another hit right here.
Well, they got a guy at the plate that can put a charge in it. Eric Kratz has a homer already. That came against David Price. Up the middle. That'll get through. One run is in. Here comes Navarro. Ellsbury's throw to the plate is offline, and the Blue Jays are right back in it. The Blue Jays catchers contributing to this 3-run inning. Navarro an RBI double, and Kratz a 2-run single.
Great approach right there. Keep that front shoulder in as long as you can, and think about going right back through the middle. They played 3 infielders on the left side of the infield, and it backfired. That ball squirts through, and Ellsbury really didn't have a shot at getting Navarro. Throws offline, and that puts another runner into scoring position. Eric Kratz with a big 2-out hit.
It all started with 2 outs and nobody on. Bautista hit one off the end of the bat that dropped into center field. Encarnacion went the other way, got a single. Set the table for Navarro and Kratz. Brett Lawrie with a chance to cut even deeper into the Yankee lead. Lawrie has grounded out and popped out.
Look for the ball out there. That's where he's going to want to try and get you out. We saw that in the second half of last season from Brett Lawrie, his ability to hit the ball to right field.
Ball on a strike. Adam Warren, the right-hander, loosening up. Tough pitch right on the outside edge. 1-2. That's where Laurie's got to really dig down deep and battle CC Sabathia. Lawrie just 2 for 23 on the season.
Big pitch. This is a big pitch for the Yankees, so McCann and Sabathia want to make sure they're thinking the same way. Runner at second base in scoring position. I think anything into the outfield will score them. Outfielders are deep with Brett Lawrie at the plate. You can see how deep Jacoby Ellsbury is in center.
1-2. 2 outs. Fly ball into center. Ellsbury coming in. This will end the inning, but the Blue Jays have scored 3, all with 2 outs, capped off by Eric Kratz' 2-run single. It's a brand new ball game as we head to the 7th. ahead to the 7th. Blue Jays got 3 runs with 2 outs. The Yankees overhauled their roster in the offseason, spent a lot of money and picked up some quality players.
The Yankees have always been a team that is star-studded. They've got all kind of guys that are name recognition, household names. They let Robinson Cano go, and they took that money and they spread it around and got 4 really good players to help this team out. Always been a star-studded team.
Brian McCann, an all-star. They needed a catcher. They went out and got the best available. Same can be said about Tanaka. 25-year-old player, and Jacoby Ellsbury. They need leadoff man, and he fits the bill. Although he's hitting 3rd here this afternoon. Ball and a strike. Todd Redmond has done exactly what he wants. Masahiro Tanaka won his first major league game. Just 25 years old. He's got a 7-year contract. I had a chance to meet Tanaka this morning before the Yankees took batting practice. His translator, Shinjo Hori, was my stage manager during the WBC in Japan back in March of 2013. Shinjo got a nice promotion too. He's now the translator for Tanaka. There's a high fly ball to right. Bautista has it. Ellsbury's retired.
The 2014 Honda CR-V. Honda, proud to be the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
This is the biggest inning of the game for the Blue Jays. They just scored 3 runs in the bottom of the 6th. They need to put up a 0 here in the top of the 7th. Keep the momentum in their dugout.
Make it stressful for the Yankees. What they want to do, if they want to go to the bullpen or send CC back out there.
Todd Redmond's done a nice job. He's kind of stopped the bleeding when he came into the game in the 4th. Got those 2 outs to end the inning. He's allowed 2 hits but no runs. McCann goes after that breaking ball and pops it into the seats. And this is exactly what you want from your long man. Come in when you're behind, throw up some zeros, give the hitters a chance to score some runs. Dennis Lamb went 11-0 for the 85 Blue Jays in a similar role. He went out there, threw up some zeros. Team scored some runs, and he ended up with a perfect season.
Yes, starter get knocked out. This was your chance.
I mean, it's not a role that you would say is a star-studded role. Certainly not one that you seek out as a pitcher. But boy, it's a valuable role.
It's very valuable. Blue Jays didn't have anybody last year that you could say was their long man out of their bullpen.
What it does, it saves the bullpen. And Todd, he says he wants to be a starter. Well, this is a great opportunity. This is a semi-start. Pete Walker, he was that kind of pitcher when he played, and a swing man, a starter, and a guy that could give you multiple innings out of the pen. That ball is ripped, but foul. Hey, what a nice play by the ball boy. No problem at all. Cool, calm, and collected. Come on, smile a little bit. Yeah, there you go. Give me some love.
Yeah, you can do it.
Here's the 2-2 to McCann. Breaking ball. This one's fair and going to go up against the wall. Bautista plays the hop perfectly, and he's going to keep McCann at first to a long single. Redmond's not happy with that location on that breaking ball.
Yeah, they struck him out with a high fastball in the 3rd inning. I thought they'd go back to that after throwing a couple of breaking balls. That one just spun up there and really helped out McCann. I thought they'd go high fastball one more time.
Well, good hitters cut down their swing with 2 strikes. And what happens when you throw a breaking ball is they don't have to be so quick in an effort to catch up to the fastball. Alfonso Soriano got his first hit of the season last time up in the 5th. That snapped an 0 for 17 start to his season.
Only Yankee regular without a hit through the first 5 games this season. This is a big at bat right here. You got 3 lefties coming up. This is a big at-bat for Todd Redmond.
Redmond's thrown 48 pitches. Fooled him with that breaking ball. Esmail Rogers starts to loosen up. 48 pitches shouldn't be a hurdle for Redmond.
Like I said, he was stretched out in spring training. He could go 60 if John Gibbons wants him to.
Lots of information available to all the baseball teams, and Soriano waves at that good breaking ball. A much better breaking ball to finish off Soriano than the one he threw to Brian McCann.
In a better location and much later break. That had the looks of a fastball going in towards home plate and then just spun away from Soriano. Watch where it is. And Soriano thinks it's a fastball, misses it by a mile.
Redmond has 5 strikeouts since entering the game. Well, this is where you say, well, why don't you use Luke or Cecil? Well, they both pitched 3 games already, and you can't use them every day. You got Brian Roberts, or Kelly Johnson, excuse me, a left-handed hitter. And you can see Luke standing by. He's not thinking about pitching today. So it's up to Redmond to finish him.
Redmond does okay against lefties because of his changeup. There's Brett Cecil in the bullpen. If they would use him, it would be later in the ball game, in the 9th, possibly the 8th inning. I mean, they tell them before the game if they have the day off or not. But I think Redmond against lefties, he's fine. He's got a good changeup. He'll use that to the lefties, and he'll elevate his fastball to him also.
Kelly Johnson with the count in his favor. Had a 2-run double in the first. Now it's 3-0. Brian Roberts, the switch hitter, is on deck. Studying the matchup numbers. A 4-pitch walk. That'll move McCann to second. That's the first walk Redmond has issued this afternoon. So Brian Roberts, switch hitting second baseman. He's gone 0 for 2 with a walk. Big runs to save for the Blue Jays. Takes the strike. It's a 6-4 ball game. The Blue Jays have closed the gap on the Yankees with 3 runs in the bottom of the 6th. The thing to remember, if you're thinking about the Blue Jays' chances of coming back in this game, they've got 4 left-handed hitters on the bench. So if Girardi takes Sabathia out, Gibbons has a lot of options at his disposal.
He's got some thunder in Adam Lind on the bench. Colby Rasmus.
Now it's 2-1.
He's laboring now. He's going to have to take a deep breath right here and make a pitch. Probably going to be his last inning, and I think that's why Pete Walker's coming out. He sees the same thing.
I agree with you 100%. Yep, this is a good time to go out there and help Todd Redmond regroup. Take a deep breath. This is a pivotal at bat in this ballgame.
Just give him a few minutes to catch his breath, calm him down just a little bit. Everybody in the ballpark knows this is a big pitch right here.
Brian Roberts is 3 for 4 against Redmond, including a home run. Oh, there's a good pitch. Just a little meeting and a little breather, and he delivers a key pitch.
A good fastball in a good spot. Now, what do you have to get him out with?
McCann at second, Johnson at first. Got him. Roberts strikes out. What a job by Redmond. His 5th strikeout of the afternoon has kept the Blue Jays in it. Fans anxious for a Jays comeback here. We head to the bottom of the 7th inning stretch, and it is a 2-run game. Adam Warren takes over for C.C. Sabathia. He pitched in 34 games a year ago for the Yankees. He made 2 starts. Pitched out of the pen for the majority of the season. He spent the entire year with the Yankees.
Pitched in relief the other day, the last day in Houston. Retired all 4 batters that he faced. He was a starter in the minor leagues. 90 games started in the minor leagues. He was a 4th-round pick in 2009 out of North Carolina. Another one of those North Carolina players in the big leagues. He's got all 4 pitches: fastball, slider, curveball, and change.
Moises Sierra cuts on the first pitch. Sierra gets the start in left today. Melky Cabrera started in center. Kobe Erasmus on the bench to start this game. Tolle, Lind, Rasmus, and Goins are on the bench for the Jays. Sierra fouls it back. C.C. Sabathia, 6 strong innings. Out of the Blue Jays to 4 runs on 7 hits. He's in line for the win. He's the pitcher of record for New York. Into shallow center. Roberts out. Ellsbury in. The center fielder makes the catch. Sierra is retired.
He missed a couple of pitches that he could hit. Fastball, and then that one right there, the breaking ball. You might be saying, well, why didn't we see a left-hander right there? I think you got to save your lefties for if the score stays like this, the 9th inning, and David Robertson.
Good point.
Don't burn them just yet. Got to be patient.
Jonathan Diaz, the shortstop, has struck out twice this afternoon. Hard slider missed down and away. Diaz appeared in 5 games last year for the Boston Red Sox. Good rip, foul back. He made his major league debut against his former team, the Toronto Blue Jays, at Fenway Park. He picked up his first big league hit against Tampa Bay this season. That came in his first game.
He has not looked overmatched at the plate.
Got his first big league hit in his second plate appearance. He walked in his first plate appearance. Slider, did he check? Yes, he did. According to first base umpire Ed Hickox.
Warren's pitch to get with 2 strikes to get the out. He'll use the slider and he'll use his changeup the most. Those 2 pitchers are his put-away pitches. It's a pretty tight slider.
Boy, he spoiled a good pitch. That was a wicked slider just off the plate outside. Warren is 26 years old. Pat said he comes from North Carolina. Hit to right. Ichiro was over near the foul line. Makes an easy catch. 2 down. Fans get ready for the 2014 baseball season with MLB.TV. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live or on demand in HD quality. Watch up to 4 games at once with multi-game viewing. Season subscriptions start at $129.99. Visit BlueJays.com today for more details. Lots of great baseball action this season. Just 1 week old. Lots of interesting stories around baseball. The Tigers are 4-0 to start the season. Seattle, Robinson Cano, their team 4-1. Miami Marlins are 5-1.
How about the offense of the Miami Marlins?
This is chopped off home plate. Warren waits on it and throws quickly in time to retire Melky Cabrera. Adam Warren comes out of the bullpen and retires the side in order. We'll go to the 8th. Steve Delabar on for the Jays. New York. This is the opening weekend of the season here at Rogers Center. Over 127,000 have come out for this weekend series. Blue Jays started on the road for 4 straight against the Rays, 3 here at home against New York. What are your impressions of the first week of the season?
A couple of things that really pop into my mind as I watch this team the first week. The defense has been outstanding, I think. They're making all the plays. They're doing all the right things in the field. And Melky Cabrera does not look like the Melky Cabrera from last year. He looks outstanding. in that leadoff spot for the Blue Jays.
Melky Cabrera had a leadoff home run this afternoon. 3 home runs for the season. He and Bautista tied to lead the team. Steve Delabar calling relief after an outstanding performance by Todd Redmond. Redmond goes 3 2/3, allows 3 hits, no runs, walked a batter, and struck out 5. That's how you spell relief.
Yeah. Start with an R. Came in when Drew Hutchinson was knocked out in the 4th inning, threw up zeros. Went through the lineup about 1.5 times, 5 punch outs, no runs. He's given the offense a chance to come back.
Ichiro fouls it up. He's behind 0-2. You know what I like? Drew Hutchinson sitting right on that bench.
Yeah.
He had a disappointing start to his day, 3 1/3. And oftentimes you'll see starters back in the clubhouse and they'll be sitting there thinking about their start. He's out here seeing if he can't pick up something with these Yankee hitters. Good for him. Steve Delabar battling with Ichiro Suzuki. Suzuki 1 for 3 day with a pair of strikeouts. Jays are down by 2. Delabar trying to keep it right there. Oh, he buried that breaking ball in the dirt.
His stuff is outstanding. And by that I mean his fastball is mid to upper 90s. And he's got a couple of pitches that he can strike you out with. Slider and that split finger.
This is Delabar's 3rd appearance of the season. And Ichiro, I didn't know how he got wood on that pitch. It was down right in on his knee.
That's where Hutchinson struck him out his first 2 times up. Fastballs in. And then with 2 strikes his last time up, a little rolling breaking ball. He pulled it in the right field for a hit.
Staying down and in.
Not a bad idea.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Ichiro strikes out for a 3rd time. Don't see that very often.
Just 17 times in his career. Splitter. Look at that. Nasty. After a fastball on the inner half like that, you come back with that splitter. Good sequence.
Ichiro 1 for 4. Yanir Solarte 1 for 3. RBI double and scored in the 4th. The Blue Jays have done a terrific job of stranding base runners. That's why they're still in this ball game. The Yankees are just 3 for 13 with runners in scoring position, and they've left 7. Off the end of the bat. Solarte's retired.
We were talking about that after the game on Friday night, and we couldn't believe it. They were 9 for 24 runners in scoring position on Friday night, the Yankees. And then R.A. Dickey and the rest of the gang yesterday held them just 1 for 10 runners in scoring position.
Yeah, that was unusual. 9 for 24. I mean, that's a lot of at-bats with runners in scoring position. And they left 11 on. So that's why they won 7-3. Leadoff man, Brett Gardner. Waves at that first pitch, and Delabar is sharp. Yankees have struck out 12 times this afternoon.
Where when he's got that splitter for a strike at the bottom part of the strike zone, he is awfully tough.
Looking ahead to the bottom of the 8th, it's Asturis Bautista Encarnacion. Inside, he pushed him back. the end of the bat. Quickly to first. Good inning for Delabar. 3 up, 3 down. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th. It's a 2-run game. Now it's time for Blue Jays Central Update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn. Ontario is the site. May 9th, 10th, and 11th at Royal Distributing Athletic Center. The instructors include Roberto Alomar, George Bell, Devon White, Lloyd Mosby, and Dwayne Ward. Visit BlueJays.com/Baseball Academy for more information. The Toronto Blue Jays are proud supporters of amateur baseball across Canada. Wow, look at those guys.
You look pretty mean in that picture right there. Got your game face on.
Sean Kelly is the new Yankee pitcher in to start the 8th inning. Esteuras, Bautista, and Encarnacion, the scheduled batters.
Career high 57 games last year for Sean Kelly. Good numbers, 4 and 2. Righties hit .225 against him. He also averaged almost 12 strikeouts per 9 innings, which was the 8th best in the American League. Lots of sliders, good fastball.
Kelly making his 3rd appearance of the season. He's worked an inning and a third, has 2 strikeouts. Vicer Esteuras flares it to left. Gardner was overplaying Esteuras to the opposite field and makes the catch. 1 down. Jose Bautista got it going in the 6th with a 2-out single. He came around to score on Deanna Navarro's double. That was the first of 3 2-out runs the Blue Jays would score in the 6th inning. High fly ball to left. Gardner just on the edge of the warning track, and Bautista just missed that hanging breaking ball.
Boy, he knows Sean Kelly. He's going to get a breaking ball at some point, and it looked like Jose was sitting on it. He just missed it. Watch where this pitch is. He's got 3 home runs this year, Jose does, all off of breaking balls, and he was waiting for that one and just missed it.
Bautista had a good cut, just got underneath it. Sean Kelly's 29 years old. The Yankees acquired him from Seattle in exchange for one of your new star players in the American League, Abraham Almonte, back in February of 2013.
He's raking for the Mariners and playing great center field also.
Almonte, boy, he has been a revelation for the Seattle Mariners early in the season. Edwin Encarnacion singled and scored in that 3-run rally in the 6th. Tried to check his swing and couldn't. Deanna Navarro, switch hitter, is on deck. he throws a lot of strikes. He's one of those guys that you just got to be ready against. He'll throw sinking fastball and slider into the zone.
Yep, 6 pitches so far, 5 of them are strikes. We told you 12 strikeouts per 9 innings last year. 71 strikeouts, and you don't classify him as a flamethrower. He just knows how to pitch.
Goes that ball up, and Encarnacion drives it to center field. Asbury can't make the play. It's off the wall. Encarnacion is headed for third base, and he's going to get there with a head-first slide. Boy, he went upstairs and got that high fastball and drilled it to center field.
You know, that is a good sign for Blue Jay fans when Encarnacion's hitting the ball with authority to right center field. He singled to right field his last time up. Now he drives that ball. Ellsbury thinks he has it measured, but he misses it. Ball up and away, and he stayed on top of it. Was able to get the bat head through. That ball kept carrying to right field. Edwin's going to have his first triple of the season.
The Jays rallied with 2 outs in the 6th, trying to do the same here in the 8th. John Navarro hit a double down the left field line, drove in a run in the 6th. Potent bats on the bench for the Jays.
If it gets to it. You've got Rasmus and you've got Lynn, and they also have a left-hander warming up in the bullpen. Joe Girardi thinking a couple of hitters ahead.
Matt Thornton appears to be ready. Breaking ball for a strike. It's 1-1. Joe Girardi wants to move the defense. He went to Mick Kelleher and backed up the infield. Brian Roberts a couple of steps back. On the outside corner.
Appeared to bend around the plate. So Deanna Navarro is going to have to defend against that.
It's lit up red for a strike, but it's off the plate. Pulled on the ground. That's a fair ball. Kelly Johnson flips to Kelly, and the inning is over. Blue Jays leave a base runner at third. We'll go to the 9th. The Yanks lead 6-4. New pitcher in to start the 9th inning is Esmiel Rogers. Steve Delavar had a clean inning in the 8th. Now Rogers will try to do the same in the 9th.
Third game already for Esmiel Rogers out of that bullpen. Just one inning they need him right now. He's got to go through the middle of the lineup of the New York Yankees. Get that sinker sinking, keep the ball down. He's been hurt in the past when his ball is elevated. The bullpen's been good this afternoon for the Blue Jays.
Bullpen's been very good. The Yankees got off to a quick start against Drew Hutchison, scored 3 runs in the first on just 1 hit. Hutchison walked 2, hit a batter. Kelly Johnson had the only hit in that 3-run inning. A 2-run double off the wall in center. That's the difference in this game. Yankees scored 3 in the 4th. Blue Jays single run in the 1st and 3 in the 6th. Derek Jeter's had a good day at the plate. Jeter is 2 for 4 so far. And he has moved up the leaderboard in the all-time hits parade. He has tied and passed Paul Molitor, and he stands alone in 8th place. Those 2 hits today, Jeter now has 3,320 career hits. High fly ball to right. Bautista backing up a few steps. Jeter's retired. Rogers gets his first man. Jacoby Ellsbury batting 3rd this afternoon, drove in the first Yankee run. A ground ball to second base chased home Brett Gardner. Gardner reached on a walk, stole second, moved to 3rd on the Jeter ground out, and scored on the Ellsbury ground out.
Their attack, I think, in these 3 games is a little bit different than the attack that we saw last year. David Robertson up, getting ready for the bottom of the 9th. He's the closer. Couple of walks, couple of stolen bases, and both of those runners have scored, getting themselves into scoring position early in an inning. Roberts in the 4th and Gardner in the 1st.
High fly ball to left. Moises Sierra moves underneath it, and Ellsbury's retired. 2 fly ball outs. The Yankees, those 3 stolen bases today, Gardner, Roberts, and Ichiro Suzuki. They have changed their tune a bit.
Yeah.
Out of necessity. No Mark Teixeira, no Alex Rodriguez, no Robinson Cano.
Well, the last couple of years with the Yankees, they've hit a ton of home runs, but they haven't manufactured a lot of runs. I think Brian Cashman, the general manager of the Yankees, wanted to diversify his attack just a little bit more.
Do you think that plays in their ballpark?
I think it plays anywhere. I think when you run into great pitching, and we talked about it earlier, you're going to run into some great pitching in the American League East. You can't rely solely on the home run. You have to be able to manufacture runs and score runs when you're not hitting the home runs.
They also have the benefit of switch hitters. Beltran, a switch hitter, signed in the offseason. Solarte, a minor leaguer who made their team, he's a switch hitter. They're versatile. Can do a lot of things. Brian Roberts, he too is a switch hitter. Brian McCann, the catcher, with a 2-1 count. McCann singled his last time up. At the knees.
There's a good pitch right there. Do that one with conviction.
We're in the top of the 9th. New York leads at 6-4. Esmail Rogers trying to finish off Brian McCann. High fly ball to right. Bautista going back at the track, at the wall, makes the catch. Up against the wall, 3 fly ball outs for Rogers. And the Blue Jays will go to the 9th. trailing by 2. It's Blue Jays in focus with a story on what goes on in the front office. Alex Anthopoulos, the general manager of the ball club, will tell you about his thoughts as to what it takes to put together a team, and that's coming right up. Stephen Brent with a good job of breaking it all down, so make sure you check it out right after this ball game. Closer David Robertson in, making his third appearance of the season.
We were talking earlier that this is a different Yankee team. No Robinson Cano. Well, the biggest difference, I think, no Mariano Rivera. The first time in 19 seasons that you see Brett Laurie talking to the first batter scheduled this inning, Eric Kratz. David Robertson, outstanding stuff. Good fastball, good curveball. And his fastball's got some nice cut to it, a la Mariano Rivera.
Brett Laurie's 2 for 4 against David Robertson, so he knows what he's talking about. Giving Eric Kratz a little bit of a scouting report backed up by Kevin Seitzer, the hitting coach. You're thinking about Rasmus on the bench. He's 0 for 7 against David Robertson. Josh Tolley, the left-handed hitter, 0 for 3. Lind is also available. Eric Kratz looks at a pitch inside. Eric delivered with 2 outs in the 6th, a 2-run single up the middle. Drove home Edwin Encarnacion and Deanna Navarro.
Right-handers last year actually had a higher batting average against David Robertson than left-handers. Righties at 257, lefties 175, and I think that's that cutter. He can get it in on the left-handers.
Breaking ball in there. You saw Lind on the bench. He's got his batting gloves on and his bat ready. Sierra's spot is 3 away. Kratz battles that breaking ball.
Colby Rasmus, another left-hander with some plump on the bench. He's ready. He's got his batting gloves on, going over a scouting report from DeMarlo Hale. He'll spend in between innings up in the runway getting loose, taking some swings. There's a tee behind the bench where batters can go up there and get some swings before they come up to pinch hit.
2 balls, 2 strikes. On the ground, Kelly Johnson ranging far to his left. Throws to Robertson, 1 down. Or the defense has been exaggerating that shift all series long, and that time Kelly Johnson was right there.
Yeah, it almost backfired on the Yankees because they had 3 infielders on the left side of the field. They had a cut fastball away. Kratz stayed with it, almost got it through the right side.
There's Lynn coming out on deck. Laurie would love to get aboard. Robertson jumps ahead. Blue Jays bullpen, a terrific effort this afternoon. 5 2/3 of 3 hits, shutout ball. 6 strikeouts. Redmond, Delabar, and Rogers. Laurie gets on base. He waited back on that breaking ball and stroked it over the mound. He is now 3 for 5 against David Robertson.
Oh, that was a good piece of hitting right there. Took the first pitch. You got to take a strike, try to get on base, and then hit that curveball. Watch the reaction from David Robertson as Laurie stays back and drills it right back through the middle. Chuck and duck.
Well, Brett Laurie was telling Eric Kratz all about David Robertson, and he knows what he's talking about. So Adam Lind will get his at bat with a runner at first. Lind representing the tying run. Lind against Robertson, 3 for 11, a .273 average. I don't care how good David Robertson turns out to be as the closer. Teams will be encouraged this year in the 9th because there is no Mariano Rivera.
That's a great point. Just the psychological, as Colby Rasmus starts to get loose on the on-deck circle. No Rivera for 19 years. You had to deal with him.
Lynn with a good take. Tough pitch, might have been off the plate outside. Adams scored the first run of the game in yesterday's game with an opposite field double. He led off the second inning. He was driven in by Josh Tolley. He's handling that ball away very well.
And hitting it with authority. The hit he had yesterday that you were just talking about with Michael Pineda was a slider that was away, and he crushed it to left field. Looks like Robertson's staying away from his power.
Ooh, good cut. David Robertson knows he's not going to match Mariano Rivera, but he's very capable. His career numbers in save situations, he's 1-4 with an elevated ERA, 9 of 19 save opportunities. So whip really elevated, and the opponents have hit .351 against him. 2-2 pitch. Boy, lays off that tough pitch. 3-2. Rasmus on deck. Jays trying to rally in the 9th. Ball 4. Tying runs aboard. So Lynn walks in a pinch hit at bat. Ryan Goins, who comes on to pinch run, represents the tying run. Lynn with a good at bat against a tough opponent.
High fives all the way around for a good at bat. He laid off some really tough pitches.
The Yankees are without Mariano Rivera. The Blue Jays are without Rajai Davis. He would be the pinch runner in this situation. Of course, he's with the Tigers. Colby Rasmus pinch hitting for Jonathan Diaz. They're going to throw Rasmus breaking balls down and in. They have used that attack throughout this series.
Yeah, breaking balls down, fastballs elevated. So as a hitter, you got to make sure you see that fastball down. He is a low ball fastball hitter, and wouldn't that be nice?
They've been waiting for Rasmus all afternoon. Popped up. Solarte backing up in fair territory, falls down but makes the catch. Rasmus is retired. And how about the stage for Melky Cabrera?
The light has been shining on him, and he has delivered. The whole first week of the season. This was him in the first inning, second pitch of the ballgame from CC Sabathia. And he hits his third home run of the week. So the lights have been shining on him, and he has delivered.
That home run was the 6th home run Melky Cabrera has hit against his former team, the Yankees. That gets away from McCann. They didn't pick up on it. Weren't sure where the ball was, so they had to hold their ground. McCann recovered quickly. Lowry said, I didn't see the ball, and when you don't see the ball, you can't advance.
Yeah, you can't take a chance either. It looked like a breaking ball in his glove and then out, and he was actually going back towards second. Did not see it, so the runners can't advance.
Lowry's at second, the pinch runner Goins at first. Watch the bench. Everybody's saying go, and the base runners couldn't advance. Ball and a strike to Cabrera. Robertson has kept it away from Melky.
Outfield deep. They don't want anything over their heads. That will tie the ball game up. Base hit into the outfield. They'll let Lowry score. They just don't want Ryan Goins to get to third base, or that guy, the go-ahead run, Cabrera, to get into scoring position.
Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Fly ball to right. Suzuki backs up, and the Yankees win it. Cabrera hit it right to the right fielder with 2 aboard. David Robertson picks up the save, and the Yankees take the series 2-1.
Blue Jays battled back. They fell behind early. They battled back. They were down 6-1. The bullpen did an outstanding job. They battled. They just came up a little short against the Yankees.
The Yankees got some hitting today. 6 runs on and 9 hits. Blue Jays fall short after a 6-inning rally. Stay tuned. Coming up, Blue Jays in Focus featuring Alex Anthopoulos. We'll see you Tuesday night. The Houston Astros at Rogers Center.